Chapter 1. Prologue. That night you are listening at novel full.audio. Thunder was heard from afar, followed by the heavy pour of the rain. The dark clouds became darker, no stars could be seen, even the moon seemed to be hiding. Below the heavy rain, a tragic scene occurred. In the road, black cars were opened and abandoned. Dead bodies scattered around the cars. In the middle of blood and guns, a beautiful lady sat on the road with a blooded man on her lap. Her beautiful wedding dress stained with blood. Her shiny and long black hair that was freed from the bun flowed freely on her pale shoulders. Even the lady was covered with blood and rain, it cannot cover her stunning beauty. On her usual cold and indifferent face there was a rarely seen emotions plastered on her while holding the man. Fear, panic, anxiety, confusion, exhaustion, and hopelessness were all could be seen. Her tears flowed in rhythmic with the rain. She had never cried so much like this in her life. Not even in her parents' funeral, nor in her grandfather's death. They are all indifferent to her. But this man who made her heart beat, who made her smile, laugh for the first time, made her feel wanted, precious and loved. The man who brings life in her empty, dead life. This man who already hold her heart and life. If he died she would not know how to live again. She cannot live without him. No Linfeng, don't leave me. Stay awake. The lady hold the man tightly and gently. The man tried to open his beautiful eyes. Even the man was covered in blood and his wet hair it did not hide the beautiful features of the man. His eyes that always sharp, cold, and full of vigor were now dimmed and in daze. He tried to see the beautiful woman whom he swore his life to protect to care and to love. He fought to open his eyes and be awake. But he cannot see her face clearly. He reached her face with his bloodied hand and feel her beautiful features. He began to reminisce the past. Do you remember when we first met? When I saw you you already captured my heart. From that day and no matter what I did to stop my feelings from growing I cannot help to love you and be mine. This must be my retribution. For being selfish I am incapable. And let your life be at stake you should live in luxury, with a perfect life and I cannot give it to you. Forgive me. Lin Feng said between heavy breaths. No. No, you've done everything you can to save me. I don't regret it to escape with you. I cannot live with that beast. The only thing I regret in this life is to hold back my feelings for you. We should have enjoyed those times, the times we're together. Without care to the world. Because I'm weak, I don't hold power enough to protect both of us. If I just become strong and powerful they can never separate us or bully us. It's my fault. Because I'm so weak. Xiong Ji cried harder. She never told him before, nor told him what she truly feels and how she truly feels about him. Lin Feng tried to strengthen himself to wipe her tears. What are you saying that I should be the one who must protect you? Because I'm born lower than you, I did not hold power to be with you. He coughed more blood. In the next lifetime if we meet, I will surely fall in love with you again. He coughed a couple of times. In the next lifetime, I will be strong and hold every moment of us. I will express to you all my love. Never to regret again. Xiong Ji said with conviction. She had never been this determined before. But at last, it was too late. If she was given a second chance, she would do everything in her power to stop this from happening. She would defy her faith. She saw his eyes were dimming and his breathing become slower. Without you I cannot live. Wait for me. We'll be together soon, she whispered. She watched as his eyes closed and stopped breathing. The heavy rain continued to flow endlessly. Xiong Ji stared at lifeless Lin Feng, her eyes were empty and her heart died at same time the man died. She slowly looked up on the dark sky. She lay there and think about her tragic life. She had wealth, she had brain, she had beauty, she had a handsome fiancé. Life seems to be perfect for her. That's what they said. That's what they know. They did not know that. She was an orphan. She never experienced being loved by her parents even when they were alive. She had an unloving grandfather who only used her as a pawn to expand his business. Arranged a marriage to her with a beast in prince's clothing. She had a schemer and evil relatives who eye her like a wolf, ready to pounce at her wealth. So what of wealth? So what of her surname Xiong? They cannot be used. They were thorny decorations. Her beauty. Her brains. It cannot be used, she was only a puppet and a model of her grandfather. She had never become herself. That's why she grew to become cold, indifferent, and never open to anybody. Until he came. She looked at the man and caressed gently his cold face. He became her light. She did not care about him at first. Not even give him a glance before. Thinking he was only another pawn his grandfather put to stay at her side. But he's different. He cares, even she did not look at him, he always gently give her reminders, advice, courage, and warnings that an aide should not cross. When the world scheme at her, he was the only one who patiently stay at her side. He gives her comfort, protection and love. He let her feel loved. He was the only one in her life that she never regretted to known. Now her most precious one was gone. He's gone. Xiong-ji closed her eyes and stayed at his side holding him endearingly. She did not feel the cold or the heavy drops of the rain that prickled on her skin. For hours, she did not move. She did not even hear the sirens and shouts. While her breathing was becoming fainter she whispered. Never again to be weak, never again wasted our precious time. I'll promise that I in the next lifetime. I will protect you. And love you. The police approached the lady who had man on her lap. He tried to talk to her and noticed something. He felt her pulse and said. What a tragic that everyone is dead here. The dark sky witnessing the tragic scene thundered once again. Chapter 2. Never again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Thunder was heard from afar followed by the heavy rain. It's morning but the dark clouds covered the sun dimming the surroundings. Through the mansion of Xiong family, a girl woke up and sit up straight. Her face was pale and full of sweats. Her heart was beating so fast. She looked at her surroundings. She recognized her place. But she could not believe what she was seeing. She was dazed for a while, realizing something, she stand up and run towards her dressing room. Facing the full-length mirror. She touched her face. It cannot be. How come I become young? Is it all a dream? But it felt so real. Her face was full of disbelief. She still has a pale translucent skin that seemed to never reach the sun. Her shiny black straight long hair reached to her waist. She still has a dark pair of cold and empty eyes protected by her long curly eyelashes, her thin brows, her straight nose that gathers envy from her cousins, her thin red lips that spoke only few words, her pointed chin, and her little heart-shaped face, were still the same except she looked younger. Like a maiden who were still blooming. The maiden in the mirror had a perfect portion of a woman's body. Full bri-a.s.t, small waist, and long legs. Even the girl looks a teenager. It can still capture a full-grown man's eyes. But that's not what the girl focused on. She quickly went outside her room and grabbed a maid. What date today is? The maid was startled at her sudden action. Because the young miss in front of her never speak to them. Even asked a question. They know her only as the indifferent young miss. The girl that was alone in her world. What date today is? She asked again with a slight desperation on her voice. Hope was displayed in her eyes. The maid was shocked again. Never ever she saw the young miss showed any emotion. But in front of her the girl looked so venerable with a desperation on her voice. The maid felt like she won a lotto. This was once in a lifetime experience. The young miss just talked to me and open up to me. A/N. LOL. Did she just ask you? The maid felt like crying. But when she felt that her arm was grabbed tighter she remembered to answer. Yo. Young miss. Today is June 4th. The maid answered. No, I mean is what year? At point 2011. The maid said hesitantly. Why the young miss asked this? 2.2011. The girl was shocked. So I'm 16 this year. With wide eyes she looked at the maid. The maid was equally startled. The young miss is shocked. Wide-eyed. The maid seemed to want to write in her diary right now and add this scene in the most unforgettable moment of her life. She had seen many face expression of the stone-cold face of the young miss today. That even an earthquake or explosion could never affect her stoic face. I will brag it later to them, ha ha ha. Lin Foam. Where is he? The maid was pulled out from her thoughts by the girl antics. Who's Lin Foam, young miss? The maid looked at her strangely. There is no Lin Foam in their household. The maid know the names of all the people from maids to bodyguards. Hearing this, the girl was confused and fear and panicked was seen in her face. Another maid came up, bowed and said. Young miss. Your bath is ready. The uniform is already on your bed. Uniform? The girl asked. Yes. From THS. The girl was shocked again. She ran to her room and looked at her uniform. The two maids looked at each other questionably. Both thinking their young miss was strange. The girl in the room hold her uniform. It's the same. Same school. It's not a dream. If it's not a dream. Then what is it? Did it really happen? Or did I reincarnate? Or time travel? It's crazy. The girl was none other than Xiong Ji. The young miss from the eldest daughter of Xiong family. A moment later her eyes suddenly lit up. 16. June 4. First day of school, this is the day. The day Lin Foam was introduced to me. With that thought she ran to her bathroom, not even glancing at the bathtub with warm water and roses, she opened her shower. Closing her eyes, her thoughts wandered at the time of her dream, or she must say her past life. She was not sure. It felt so real. This time her grandfather still alive. After her grandfather died, the impending doom on her started. The scheming relative strike on her. Her fiancé take off his mask. Her wealth, her inheritance and the company was stripped on her. It's all started 2 years from now. If she really traveled from the future to this past, she must prevent it to happen. Or she must prepare. This was her second chance. The heavens gave her a second chance. To made no regrets in her life. Everything she got she will use it. Her wealth, her brain, her beauty, her surname Xiong. This time she will make everything right. Never again to be weak, never again wasted our precious time. I'll promise that I in the next lifetime. I will protect you. And love you. Her final words rang clearly and loudly in her ears. The water from the shower was like the heavy rain drops of that night. The same sound of droplets and the coldness were all familiar to her. Opening her eyes, the emptiness was gone, replaced by sharpness and determination. The old Xiong Ji was gone. A new reborn Xiong Ji was standing now. Never again. Chapter 3. We meet again. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiong Ji usually took a bath for an hour. But this time she only took 10 minutes. Without calling for maids, she wore her uniform, combed her own hair, letting it flow freely in her back. Without putting any makeup she hurried downstairs. The maid that's supposed to serve her were gossiping in the kitchen. Hey, have you seen Mr. Zhou today? Maid 1 asked. Nope. Why? You know you should stop daydreaming about Mr. Zhou. Can't you see how he never see you? He probably doesn't know your name. Maid 2 said. Maid 1 scoffed. Stop it. You should know I won't listen to you. Who doesn't want to marry him? Even he has a son, he is still so handsome. And of course he's the richest among us who's working under Xiong. Speaking of his son, I saw them today. His son is so gorgeous than his own father. Maid 1 continued. Hey! Don't tell me you gonna seduce him. You're an old hag already. Leave it to us, the blooming maidens. Retort Maid 2. Hearing this, Xiongji can't help but imagine a scene where Lin Feng was surrounded by pretty maids showing his usual gentle smile to the maids. She felt uncomfortable in her heart. Thinking Lin Feng had a girl by his side loving her and protecting her. There was an indescribable feeling, making her heart heavy. This feeling was like a tiny thorn scratching her heart, making it a bit painful. But she promised not to be weak anymore. In this lifetime, I will do everything to make Lin Feng love me again. To be finally be with him. Even he has a girl. I will snatch him away from her. Lin Fengji, did I in the past you stayed and loved me secretly by my side, this time that I will boldly express my feelings to you. Having courage, she took another step and coughed loudly. She looked coldly at Maid 2 and said. What are you gossiping about? If my grandfather heard you, he will surely not let you take another step in Xiong Mansion ever again, nor to see whom you want to see. She passed like she had not say anything. While the maids were left with open mouth. The young miss. Spoke, she spoke. A/N, of course she can speak, she's not mute. They did not seem to focus on the fact that the young miss warned them. In the dining table, Xiongji sat to her usual chair. She was early than usual. The food was being served and the maids secretly peeked at her. Their young miss was early today. What scared them was their young miss sat there unmoving, unblinking, with her usual cold expressionless face. If not for the light rays and down of her chest, she would be mistaken as a beautiful statue. Xiongji was waiting for her grandfather. Actually, Xiongji was holding her excitement and anxiety meeting her grandfather again after 5 years, the last time she had seen him. Even she did not have an attachment to the old man, he was still her guardian. Even the old man saw her as his pawn, he never schemed at her. The only mistake he has was choosing that beast to marry her to him. She wanted to say many things to the old man, her hatred and her thanks. But when she saw the old man walking towards her, all her words was stuck at her throat. The old man still had his domineering aura that seemed that there was a written title in his forehead. I am a king. Bow on me, you commoner. Swallowing hard, she stands up and bowed respectfully to her grandfather. Good morning, grandfather, have you had a good night rest? She still remembered her usual greeting every morning. Her grandfather looked at her and passed her while saying. You will meet Zhou Min's son today. Your aide, grandfather said expressionless. Followed by him was Zhou Min, Lin Feng's father. Xiongji looked behind his back. Wanting to see Lin Feng. Not seeing him, she became anxious. Where is Lin Feng? Is he still the same Lin Feng? Did he also traveled here? Zhou Min, invite your son to come eat with us. Her grandfather said, pulling her attentions to him. Yes, sir. Lin Feng, come out, introduce yourself to young Miss Ji. Zhou Min said to nowhere. A tall shadow landed, stand up and bowed 90 degrees. Zhou Lin Feng, pledge my loyalty to the Xiong family. Serving as a reliable aide to the young Miss Xiongji. Lin Feng said, not raising his head. Black hair that was slightly curly at the end was covering his face. Xiongji felt the time was frozen. She stopped breathing, she stopped thinking, she stared at him unmoving. His figure, his tall stature, all of it. She wanted to engrave it in her mind. She wanted to see his face, caressed it while proclaiming her love that she had never given a chance to say to him in that life. She missed him so badly that her heart stopped beating. Noticing no one answering, Lin Feng took a short peek behind his hair. He did not dare to raise his head. But what he saw startled him. He knew the rumors about the young miss. Since he was her aide, he was told and trained since young to serve this young miss. He investigate everything about her. Although he had not seen her, he heard about her stunning beauty. He heard about her cold, indifferent and meek behavior. She spoke only few words, treating it as gold. She had never shown any emotions or reactions to anything. Like a lifeless doll. Unlike any rich young miss who were socializing on the top of the food chain, this girl was alone in her world. No friends, unapproachable. But the rumors about her not give her a slightly justice. Her beauty is not just stunning. He had seen countless of beauties while following his father in ballrooms and parties. But this girl who was younger a year than him had an otherworldly beauty. Her skin translucent like jade, her jet black hair so straight and look so soft to touch reached at her waist. Without any makeup, he can see clearly her bare beautiful face. Her straight nose, her thin kissable lips, her jaw that was carved at perfect shape. And the most that was stunned him was her phoenix eyes surrounded by long eyelashes. From that beautiful eyes, thousands words seems to speak to him. Many emotions flashed by. When she closed her eyes, his heart skipped a beat. Then it thumped so fast. He even hear it loudly in his ears. What's this? Am I sick? Lin Feng was confused. He cannot describe what he was feeling. He even forgot that he raised his head and stared dumbly at the young miss. Noticing this, his father rebuked him. Outrageous. Who told you to raise your head? My apologies to Mr. Xiong and to the young miss. Lin Feng hurriedly apologized. He felt foolish. How he stared boldly at the young miss. It's all right. No offense taken. Xiong Ji tried to gentle her voice to Lin Feng, but since it was her first time it appeared cold and expressionless. When he slightly raised his head she clearly saw the face of the man that she missed and loved dearly. His thick brows, his sharp and dark beautiful eyes covered by thick lashes, his tall straight nose, his full red lips, his sharp jaw, every detail in his face was exceptional like a beautiful sculpture carved perfectly. He looked dashing and gorgeous. The familiar face that was only younger. How could not she notice him, a beautiful awesome man in the beginning? She really lived an empty life. Not knowing what beautiful is. Closing her eyes, engraving every detail of his perfect face in her heart. She wanted to run into him and tightly hug him and say those words that she wanted to say. But it's not the time. She had to be patient. There's still a matter at hand. Until then, she would not hold back her feelings for him. Opening her eyes, the sharp, cold and penetrating gaze appeared. She still stared at the man who was now bowing his head. Lin Feng. Seems I only reincarnated this time. But even you don't remember those times, I will make it more precious and unforgettable. Lin Feng. At last that we meet again. This time I will fulfill my promise that I hope you also fulfill yours. Chapter 4. I want to create my own company. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiong Ji sat on her usual chair. She was facing Zhou Min and Lin Feng sat at his side. Her grandfather sat at the front as usual. Silence was heard through the long table. Even the sound of their eating cannot be heard. Xiong Ji broke the silence and asked her grandfather. Grandfather, I wish to build my own business. She said out of the blue. The three men was shocked for different reasons. The old man was shocked because her granddaughter spoke for the first time in their meal. And she's the one who initiated it. A/N. Hey old man, that's not the issue here. Zhou Min, the head butler, aide of Mr. Xiong, was shocked when she heard her spoke. This is the first time he heard another words from her aside from yes, grandfather, and her usual line in the morning. It was the longest time she spoke with new words. A/N. Now I know why the maid said she felt like she won a lotto. The man here looks like he witnessed a world break record. While Lin Feng was shocked because of her words. How can a mere teenager build her own company? Even she has money, she must have capabilities, connections, and strong will to not let it to be bankrupt. A/N. Good reaction. Seems like you're the only one who knew the issue here. Again. Her grandfather asked her, still shocked from earlier. Grandfather, I wish to live independently and be capable to help you in the company. My parents still have their shares in Shion Corporation. I know I have to be 20 to inherit their shares. But while I'm young I want to build my own company. Because of her incompetence last lifetime her life become miserable. She had 27% share of Shion Corporation. Her family's company for generations. Shion Corporation was the biggest company in Country C and in top 10 big companies overseas. Those things was branded in her name. But she did not coveted it. Thinking if she joined into the Shion battle fighting for the shares and inheritance of Shion's wealth it would bring her troubles or cost her life. She was naive. Playing safe, meek, and obedient was never good. She forgot that she was in the top of the food chain. Many hungry wolves waiting for her. It was the world of to eat or be eaten. Her greatest mistake was not partaking in any of it. Becoming the easiest target. But this time it would not be the same. She would strike at them first, caught them unprepared. She would build her own backup, her own company. The old man recovered his wits when he heard those words. What is this girl saying? Xiong-ji. Do you know what are you saying? Building your own company. Do you think it's easy that everyone can do it? You girl, I know you are not a brat. You should listen to me like you always do. Study and graduate. You can help me by not bringing trouble in our surname. I let you marry then to expand our business. I already have someone in my mind. Xiong-ji clenched her teeth. Because of this. Because she agreed easily her life become more doomed. Grandfather, Jier, 1, is serious. I may be young. But I'm determined. As grandfather said, Jier always listen to you. Never disobey your words. This time, Jier only have one wish. Is to allow this granddaughter to be independent and capable. Grandfather, you are a Shion, I'm also a Shion, it runs in our blood to become on top of the world. If I'm weak and just to be wed to someone you already chose and become a decorations only, I'm a worthy to be a Shion. Grandfather, I want to prove myself to you and see what I'm capable of. And to avenge me and Lin Feng to those animals that I must become strong. She silently added in her speech. The three men once again was shocked. And once again, for different reasons. But this time the old man seriously pondered her words. By using the legendary name of Xiong, Xiong-ji hit the old man in his weak spot. Knowing the old man gave importance to their surname. That even her mother was married the old man still used their surname dominating her husband. Zhou Min was shocked this time because he learned the young miss had a sharp tongue. Even only few words come out, it was all straightforward and directly hit the spot. Lin Feng was shocked because of the girl's strong will. She might be cold and expressionless. But she's not meek like they said. Seems like he has an interesting young Mississippi. Lin Feng's lips curled up slightly. His gaze was intriguing while looking at Xiong-ji. Xiong-ji was indifferent to all of it. She was focused on her grandfather's answer. But no matter what, if she have to do it secretly she'll do it. She just only need a little money for creating the company. She has plans. She might look 16, a girl who are blooming in her age, learning the world, but inside, her soul was an ADU.L.T 20.3, who already experienced the ugly side of this world and even death itself. She looked at her grandfather with unwavering determination. This look moved her grandfather's heart. But he stilled his heart. In business, there's no family. If you were strong and intelligent you would rise on the top. But if you're weak, you would be eaten and never seen again. That's how cruel this business world. That's also one of the reasons why he did not want her to enter business. He would choose to let her marry a wealthy and capable man. But looking at his beautiful granddaughter's eyes he can help but feel proud. He knew she was intelligent and she knew the rules of this world. Still, Her granddaughter was still young. How can she survive this dangerous world? The old man was torn between, yes, you can do, and no you can't. A/N. Just get a flower, peel their petals, and decide already. Reader's reaction, RR. Shut up A/N, you're not helping. Pity the old man. Duh. Here's flowers for you, A/N. Underscore dot. I don't know where they popped out. Finally, after a long silence, the old man sighed. If you really want, you can do. But you will never get a penny from me. I will not stop you. Since it is your own company, build it from scratch. Xiongji breathed the breath she was holding. Of course, grandfather, I will not disappoint you. But can I withdraw a little money from my savings that my parents left me? I only need 10 million. I will return it after 2 years with 20% interest. Since I did not earn the money from my savings, I will just borrow it and return it immediately. A/N. Don't forget, they were wealthy business family that runs for many generations. So their treasury contains many billions. That's why 10 million is only and little for them. RR. Shut up A/N, we already know. Why you keep popping up? Don't interrupt. BTY, can we borrow money? You know, just a little and only, winky face. What if you go bankrupt? Or your company did not expand at all or cannot return the 10 million after 2 years? Her grandfather taunted her. I will marry the man you choose and never speak of this like it never happened. She confidently replied. She would never marry that man. Hence, she would never let herself fail. Since it was your money to waste, I don't have any complaint. But I would like to see your company's growth. You must set a goal. I planned after 4 years, the moment I turn 20, I will have a strong company. That its name will even reach your ears. Xiongji said with a stoic face. Ha ha ha. Indeed you are a Xiong. Don't disappoint me, woman. I laugh today and it will be bad if you make me humiliated later. I would like to see what can you achieve in a mere 4 years. Thank you, grandfather. I will fulfill my promise. But you must comprise me also to never interrupt my business in not appointed time. Not sent me to marriage to any man. If I succeed in 4 years, build my own company and prove my abilities, I will choose the man that I will marry. Xiongji said determinedly. Fine. It's a deal. Ha ha ha. The old man continued to laugh. In his heart, a mark was left by her granddaughter. In the years to come, he would remember this time when he witnessed the change in his granddaughter and the start of her legends in business world. Chapter 5. Lin Feng, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Hello. How A/N and RR, arguments and little pop-up. Well, I think it's livelier if we have commentators along the way. The kind of people who are gossipy. But A/N and RR are sarcastic. Hope you enjoy them tagging along with you. Winky face. After the heated conversation, the 4 ate in silence. When the time to ride to school came, Lin Feng walked toward Xiongji and picked her bag. Young Miss Ji, please let me carry this baggage for you. Lin Feng said, looking down at her. Xiongji was startled at first. Well, after their times together in the past she became fully aware of him. His actions, movements, breathing and even the clothes he was wearing. In the past, she never really looked at him. Now, standing tall in front of her, looking at his beautiful features, she took the time to stare at him. Lin Feng noticed Xiongji's eyes at him with intense gaze. He cannot help but feel the heat rise up in his head, making his ears red. He was stared at by many women before. With different kind of gaze. But this girl in front him had a gaze that he never felt before. So intense that so sincere that like her eyes wanted to say something. But Lin Feng cannot understand. This was the first time they met, why she was looking at him like that. Maybe the young miss want to ask me something. Opening his mouth to say the thing in his mind, Xiong-ji spoke first. You look good in your uniform. Lin Feng felt his ears was burned. He tried to maintain his stoic face while saying. Thanks young Miss Ji for the compliment. N1. Xiong-ji turned back and walked first. Xiong-ji looked like she did not say anything to the man. Like it was a fact that must had to say. Lin Feng tried to calm himself. It was just a little compliment, but he felt like the girl confessed her love to him. Get yourself together. It's just a compliment, nothing else. A/N. Poor Lin Feng, she was actually confessing her love to you. On the road to the car, Xiong-ji continued to draw her plan in her mind. To build her own business, to never meet the beast and to be with Lin Feng. While having these thoughts, Xiong-ji can't help to place her eyes at Lin Feng. Lin Feng felt the intense gaze again. He tried very hard to remain his face expressionless and normal. But his ears betrayed him by turning red. A/N. Poor Lin Feng. Xiong-ji noticed this and studied him more. Being looked at, like he was an interesting specimen under that microscopic beautiful eyes, Lin Feng sweated. He gulped and can't help but furrowed his thick brows. Xiong-ji saw everything in her eyes. She thought Lin Feng was uncomfortable or in pain. She raised her hands and leaned towards him. She placed her hands in his forehead. Are you sick? She asked in a soft voice. She was really worried and concerned that it reflected on her voice. Hearing her soft voice with a little worry of it, Lin Feng was stunned. Even the driver was shocked that he accidentally stepped on the brakes. Shriek, what happened? Lin Feng asked with red ears. Even he was stunned at the moment. The safety of young Miss Ji was his priority. Apologies. Young sir and young miss, I accidentally step on the brakes, the driver said with a wince. Be careful next time. I will still report this to father. The safety of young miss is very important. Lin Feng said seriously. Yes, sir, the driver answered. Xiong-ji, who was watching at the side, admired Lin Feng again. Since he was young he was like this. Prioritizing my safety first before himself, even it was only his job. He's such an awesome man. She cannot help but stare at him again. Lin Feng break out cold sweat. He thought he was spared from the intense gaze after the car incident. While she's staring at me again. I cannot hold it anymore. Lin Feng gathering his courage met her gaze and said. Young miss, is there something you want to ask or say to me? Xiong-ji can now finally look directly at his dark eyes. Studying it for a moment while dazedly saying. I cannot get enough of you. Again, the car stopped suddenly. But Lin Feng cannot rebuke the driver at this time. Because he was utterly completely stunned. He felt like he was struck by lightning. Making his heart skip a beat and then beat so fast like it was coming out of his chest. The heat rise up in his head making his whole face, ears and neck so red. What does the young miss saying? Does she know what it means? He cannot find any reply to her, or any logic at her words. Lin Feng for the first time felt his IQ was completely low. Where was his brain? He needed it now. Where was his words? Emergency. Xiong-ji was worried again. Lin Feng seemed to have difficulty in breathing. Coming closer to him, he patted his back a few times and put some pressure in his chest. But when she did that he became more stiff. Frozen in spot with a blank expression. She began to panic. If he did not breathe he would die. A/N. Hey, just give him space so he can breathe. You will lead him to his death, RR. Don't interrupt. Go back. It's a good part, ********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, she guyed him anxiously. Lin Feng recovered some of his wits when he followed her breathing. Inhale. Iksha, wait, what am I doing? It's so humiliating, I acted like a love-struck girl. Lin Feng tried to hide his face through his hair. I'm fine, young miss. Thank you for the emergency. Please forgive me for my incompetence. Just call me Jier. There's no need for pleasantries. Forgive me young miss, but it's our etiquette and rules. The Zhou family served the Xiong family for many generations. Please pardon me. You're an exception. How did I become an exception, young miss? My blood runs the Zhou family. We pledge to become your right hand for many generations. No matter what we become in the future, we will be under your family. Even we tried so hard and be successful, it will never change that we still under your surname. Lin Feng said with mixed emotions. Since young he was trained and told that he would serve someone in the future. He must study hard, he must knew many things at a very young age. He did not enjoy his childhood. His 17 years of life were spent to strengthen himself for someone else. He was called a genius since young. He was outstanding among his peers. He was very talented in all aspects. He had many dreams. Ambitions. He did not want to serve anyone. He wanted to be free. He was capable. He knew he would succeed in everything he'll do. He can reach higher. Once he's on the top and prove himself, he will get what he wants. Everything he wants. Even his name Zhou would be freed from the Xiong family. He may not broken their relations, but he can bring the Zhou in the same standing as them. Or even higher than them. All those things were kept hidden inside his heart. Chapter 6. TIHS. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing his answer, Xiong Ji caught a glimpse of his heart. Even he did not say what was in his heart. Xiong Ji could hear it. She remembered when Lin Feng died at the past, Lin Feng blamed himself of being born low and did not have power to protect her. She understood it now. Why Lin Feng said those words. Lin Feng must felt like his wings was cut off and he was chained to the Xiong. Xiong Ji lowered her eyes. She wanted Lin Feng to stay by her side. But seeing Lin Feng holding himself from what he wanted to do, she felt pain. In the past, Lin Feng never gained his freedom. He never did what he really wanted to do. He lived all his life for someone else. He even died for that someone else. In this life, she promised to love Lin Feng, including giving him happiness. And his happiness was his freedom. Having another goal, she looked at the FLU.S. Tiered Lin Feng. And there will be a time in the future when you will not need to bow to Xiong anymore. You don't need their approval to prove yourself to them. Just soar high and do what you want. Why not promise yourself like I promised to my grandfather? You're capable than me. You can do it. They cannot stop you for what you wanted to do. She sincerely said to Lin Feng. Lin Feng, in this lifetime, let's do what we want. Let's live this life without regrets. Lin Feng looked at Xiong Ji. Those words that he really wanted to hear. Was coming out from her mouth. His heart was moved. He felt like someone did understand him. Like what he wished was not outrageous and ridiculous. He felt like he'd take one step to his dream. But how did young miss know of it? He did not say anything else, right? Why did she said that? Can she see me through? I thought I already mastered the art of expression. This girl cannot be underestimated. Nevertheless, Lin Feng felt grateful to young Mississippi. He smiled sincerely at her while saying, "Young miss is really kind. I will take it to heart." Jier, Xiong Ji pestered. "Young me. Jier, pardon me. Jier. Xiong Ji turned away her head and looked outside the window. Her actions were clear. She would not talk to him and ignored him if he did not call her name. Throughout the ride, silence reigned. The driver let out a breath. He can finally relax. He witnessed incredible things today. Their young miss spoke and said many words. He witnessed their young miss let out an emotion. He even saw in his own eyes their young miss worry, encourage, and act like a spoiled child. The driver looked at Lin Feng in the mirror. And all of it is because of this boy that is their young miss like this boy. That's surely a bomb. A/N. Nice one, driver. Jackpot. Lin Feng was at lost. He cannot call her by her name. If he did that, the Xiong may think he did not respect them. So he kept quiet and let Xiong Ji ignore her. They arrived at the Tianzai International High School, THS, in few minutes. RR. Seriously, A/N, why do we feel like you have grudge in that school? 1, A/N. It's just a coincidence, sorry. This high school was the biggest, most advanced, and famous HS throughout the country. All students were from prominent families. From the son of the prime minister, militaries, politics, famous doctors and lawyers, and big business companies. Inside of school, there was hierarchy. Below the food chain, were the sons and daughters of lawyers, doctors, and celebrities. In the middle, were the sons and daughters from high-rank militaries and politics. On the top, were the heirs of big companies including their aides. In other words, their ranking was not about how high your grades, but how wealthy you are. Since it was school of rich elites, the school did its justice. The THS really live up to its reputation as one of the biggest school in the country. It occupied 1/4 of the capital city. The students need to travel at least 10 minutes if they have to go the next apartment. As the school of the richest students, every corner was clean and luxurious. Even the parking lot was ridiculously big and wide. Once their car was parked, an assistant wearing a suit from the school approached them and assisted them. Since it was the first day of school, the assistant talked politely on their way, introducing the school, recommending the place where student must go to rest and places where they can sightsee. Every student was assisted by the school's personnel. When they arrived at a certain big building, the personnel turned to them. This is the juniors building. Someone will receive you at the front, sir and ma'am. The personnel bowed slightly and discreetly make his way out. As he said, another personnel assisted them. The personnel lead them in front of a room. This is your room, ma'am Xiong. Then the personnel turn away and assist another student. Lin Feng gave her bag to her. Young miss, we will part here. If you need anything, just give me a call. He gave her a phone. My number is already here. I will be fast as soon as you call. Please wait me here half an hour after your class. I will take you home. And also when break comes, wait me for here. Let's get lunch together. I hope you enjoy your class. I'll take my leave, young miss. Lin Feng said and turned around. He started to walk when his phone rang. Emergency. He turned around and glanced at Xiong Ji. He started to walk to her when Xiong Ji placed the phone in her ear. Seemingly understanding what the young miss wants, Lin Feng answered the call while looking at her. He stood just a few steps away from her. At least call me Jier if we're alone. Xiong Ji said. Lin Feng was stunned for a moment. But from that distance he could see her stubbornness. Having no choice, he sighed. If that's what young miss wants. See you later, Jier. Finally hearing his endearment to her, she smiled. It was her first smile in both lifetime. Lin Feng, witnessing her first smile, was dumbstruck. He knew how stunning beautiful she was. But with that small smile, it lifted up her cold face. It enhanced her attractive features more. That even the surroundings changed beautifully. She looked so ethereal. Lin Feng's heart beats dramatically. He can't help but engrave this beautiful scene in his heart. He stared at her for a long time. Not realizing that he was late. Xiongji ended the call and walked towards her room, not realizing she hit hard Linfeng's heart and left him dumbfounded. Chapter 7. Guzhen, you are listening at novelfull.audio. After a moment, Lin Feng woke up from his stupor. Lin Feng left the juniors building. He drove to the seniors building, but he got blocked by a large crowd in a parking area. Getting out of the car, Lin Feng left the car with the driver. He walked to the entrance, not even bothering what's with the crowd. It was unusual to see the rich students who give importance to their etiquette and manner to suddenly act like this. But Lin Feng did not bother. The moment he stepped on the entrance, an arm suddenly reached out to him. Reflexively, Lin Feng got a hold of his arm and about to break it when the owner of the arm cried. "Hey, Lin Feng. It's me. Your precious friend." Lin Feng recognized the voice. He let go of the arm and ignored the boy who proclaimed his precious friend, and continued to walk. The boy let out a pained look. "Lin Feng, wait. Why are you being so cold towards your precious friend? I'm the only friend you have to treasure me." Lin Feng finally looked at him coldly with an expression, "Don't bother me." The boy ignored this and continued to his antics. He seemed familiar to Lin Feng's cold behavior. In fact, Lin Feng was cold to everyone and remained distant to them. Even he was an aide, he was respected and revered. He ranked first in the school board. Coupled with his unrivaled talents and extremely handsome looks, he was famous especially to girls. Many young miss want to recruit Lin Feng as their aide. But the Zhou family was being difficult. Aside from their family was wealthy enough to rival them, they were only loyal to the first line's descendant of Xiong family. There was an unbreakable treaty between this two family that was handed down in each generations. The first descendant of Xiong family would be served by the first descendant of Zhou family. Aside from that, any family members who were not from the first descendant cannot force the first descendant of the Zhou family to serve them. The same for the Zhou family, they cannot force themselves to serve the first descendant, but they can choose freely their master even from outside the Xiong family. That was the case of Lin Feng, who was the only son of his father. The eldest son of his eldest grandfather, making him the first descendant. He had no choice but to serve and be loyal to the first descendant of the Xiong. That was Xiongji. However, Lin Feng did not want to resign to his fate. He did not want his descendants to curse him like he cursed his great-grandfather and his descendants for being coward and become a dog to the Xiong. He wanted them to soar freely in the sky, doing what they want, aiming what they can. But for now it can wait. He would strengthen himself first. He was planning something bigger that even Xiongji herself got a headache in the future. Hey, A/N, what's that? What will happen in the future, *****, A/N. Be patient, okay? It's in the future. The boy hurriedly chased after him. Maybe you heard the news, that's why you are in the bad mood. Your girls will be stolen away by that hooligan. I heard he was very talented with extremely good looks. Who knows, maybe you found your rival. Lin Feng still ignored him. I also heard that he came here from America to find his future wife. You know, choosing from your girls. The boy continued teasing Lin Feng. But Lin Feng was not bothered. Treating the boy like he was air. Finally the boy stopped his teasing and said in serious tone. He was from Guan Group. Lin Feng stopped for a moment. Then continued walking again like he never heard something. But he can't help to furrowed his brows. Guan Group, those two words means one thing. He was arguing to himself to warn the young miss. In the end, before he reached his room, he decided to not tell about it. It was not his problem, and he promised to himself that he would not be her aide forever. So let this problem face her in the future. But the scene of her smiling to him lightly surfacing his mind. No. It's not my problem. He countered. He was not concerned. He was not bothered. He had nothing to do with it. He tried to console himself by reminding this to him. Underscore 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 not knowing that the storm that she wanted to avoid was brewing and coming her way, Xiongji entered her room. The room was big and wide. It could hold 200 people. But the students in the room numbered less than 20 only. She sat at the farthest row. Since she attended high school already, there's no need to pay attention to it anymore. When she first entered high school, she wondered why his grandfather, who let her home, schooled until she was 15 to suddenly enrolled her to school. Now, after undergoing rebirth, she knew why. That was to meet the beast and capture his attention. She did, but until now she could not understand how she captured his attention and agreed to marry her. She thought to transfer at first. But now the situation was different. She would make use of every resources that was present to her, including this school. She looked in front and studied every classmate. There were only 17 at present. She knew they were 18 and the last one committed suicide 2 months from now. She remembered that news because it lasted for a month before the news cooled down. She saw sons and daughters from the government, lawyers and businessmen like herself. She was looking for her target. At the corner of the third row she spotted him. Gu Zhen, the only son of the general of country C military. He's currently typing non-stop to his computer. His brown eyes and long lashes was hidden behind the thick glasses and with his curly black hair. He was not so tall and his presence was easily forgotten. No one would expect that this weak nerd guy came from the strict military family. However, Xiongji knows that inside this seemingly weak boy was a genius computer programmer and game developer. Because he was the only son of Gu military family, his father was against him being a computer programmer. So his progress to his chosen profession was slow. It was only when he was 20 that he created SSS and GMA that he was recognized as the youngest prodigy in the field of advanced technology. His 2 creations become international sensational that even his father cannot stop his growth. After 3 years, he became a billionaire. Xiongji had a list of targets. Before she acted, she wanted to test the water first. Observe and wait. Underscore 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 a/n. Don't be confused, Lin Feng mindset is always like this. Both present and past, he really wanted to be freed from the Xiong. But last lifetime he fall in love with Xiongji that he chose to stay at her side and abandoned his plan. Oops, did I spoil something? LOL. Chapter 8. Gu Zhen, 2, you are listening at novelfull.audio. A week had passed peacefully. Xiongji continued to observe every target of hers and waiting to strike at her first target. Gu Zhen. After her preparations was completed, she finally made her move. She texted Lin Feng that he did not have to accompany her to lunch anymore. Besides, it will take him 30 minutes to arrive at Junior's building. At the Junior's cafeteria, Xiongji, with her lunch, made her way towards the farthest corner where Gu Zhen sat alone. As usual, the boys were typing while eating lunch. Xiongji quietly sat across from him and put her lunch in the table and ate quietly. It took 10 minutes after Gu Zhen took break from typing when he finally noticed that someone was sharing his table from him. He looked around. There were many empty tables since the cafeteria was so big and spacious. He looked strangely at Xiongji, who were still eating with expressionless face. After a while, Gu Zhen did not bother with it and continued multitasking. Xiongji was finally done eating. She stared at him and waited until he was finished. When she saw that there was no more food at Gu Zhen's plate, she spoke. Mr. Gu, it was nice to have a meal with you. Gu Zhen looked at Xiong Ji. He was guessing earlier why this girl ate with him. It looks like she needs something from me. Or from my father. But this girl is from the Xiong. I'm not in a good relationship with my father right now. So whatever favor you need, I can't help you. Gu Zhen said while folding his laptop and stand up. When he was about to walk past her, he heard her say, "My favor I need was not from your father, but from you and your talent." Gu Zhen stopped and looked back at Xiong Ji. Gu Zhen did not know what was Xiong Ji talking about. No one knew why he was in a bad relationship with his father right now. It was because before the school started his father mentioned him that after he graduated high school, he would bring him to the military school to train as the future general to follow his father's footsteps. When he heard that, he blurted out to him his dream to become a game maker. His father got angry and they got in argument. Now, a week had passed and they still in a fighting stance. Except his father and the faithful maids who heard his argument to his father, no one knew about his dream or what he's good at. Outside, he only looked as a weak boy with a strong background military family. So he was confused when Xiong Ji wanted to ask a favor from him. What a weak boy like him can do. Without his father and his background. Gu Zhen thought he heard her wrongly. If you cooperate with me, your dreams and the things you wanted to do, I will help you to achieve them. Xiong Ji added with a stern face. Gu Zhen finally turned to her. He stared at her, finding out if she was joking. But with her expressionless cold face, Gu Zhen cannot tell at all. Gu Zhen returned at the table and took a seat in front of Xiong Ji. He taunted, "You are asking me as if you know what I want. What if my dream is to have a war in Western countries? Will you help me achieve it then? With the Xiong family backing you up, maybe you can help to add Gu's military power, but it was not enough to win war against the Western countries." Xiong Ji eyed him. "Is that what you really want? To lead the army, to be called General Gu?" Gu Zhen was startled. He definitely knew the answer. He did not want to be in military. Since young, he never play with toy gun or play soldier or police. As far as he could remember, he was playing with their computer in his room. Never play anything except gadgets and computer. At the age of 9, he knew every part of computer. He learned how to hack, create virus, and many things, and he enjoyed them all. So his childhood that they considered boring and dull was so full of life for him. Even he did not make any friends at middle school, he did not care. Until now, he did not care to make any connections. He was busy in his own. He was creating his world. He looked down at his laptop. His world he created was there. He created it when he was 10. He only made some revision now. But he knew he was ready to take forward to his dream. Gu Zhen stared hard at Xiong Ji. He remained unfazed, however his eyes that was hiding at the glasses and dark hair was burning. "Then tell me, Miss Xiong, as a son of Gu family, what would be my dream if not leading the army?" Gu Zhen continued taunting. "If it is what will you gonna do in the future, then I don't need your cooperation. What I need is your talent and your passion with that. I'm not asking the son of Gu family. I'm asking you as Gu Zhen." Xiong Ji said. Once again Gu Zhen was startled. He could not understand what she meant. Tired of taunting, Gu Zhen directly asked Xiong Ji. "What you really want from me? Your cooperation. In what?" Gu Zhen was getting impatient. Even Xiong Ji was a rare scene beauty, Gu Zhen did not care about that. For him, computers and gadgets were the most enchanting. Xiong Ji smiled inwardly. It looked like Gu Zhen was baited, getting impatient now. "Fine. I tell you directly. I need your skills and talent in computer programming. I am creating my own company and I need you as one of my partners." "Are you kidding me?" Just talk to me this thing again after we graduated in high school and maybe I can consider. Gu Zhen tried to stand up again. This girl was not serious. How can a girl like her pampered since young to create her own company at this age? It was just a plaything for her. But he did not need that. What he need was a professional. Someone who can help him develop his game. To make it a big shot. He started to walk away when Xiongji beat him to it. She passed him and gave a card. Fine. I'll give this to you now. Call me if you changed your mind. Xiongji already stood a few steps away from him when she stopped and looked back at him. 1 year. I'll give you a year to decide and a chance to prove myself. Next year, I'll find you and you will give me your answer. Then she walked away. Gu Zhen looked down at the card at his hand. IHZHI below this letter was a telephone number and an address. He stares dumbly at it. She already had a name for her company. Dovico well, that was fast. Gu Zhen did not know that this very company was already standing at the central city with its small number of its employees. He did not know in the future he would be glad that he kept this card. Gu Zhen walked back to his classroom on his own. Xiongji and Gu Zhen did not know that the moment Xiongji walked to Gu Zhen's table earlier, there was a pair of brown eyes looking at them watching their interaction the whole time furiously. Underscore 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 a/n. Who do you think it is? A friend or a foe? Chapter 9. Fong Daiyin, you are listening at novelfull.audio. The clock was ticking and pointing at 2. In the quiet night, the sound of clicking could be heard in a dark spacious room. Click click click. Xiongji sat on her bed with her laptop on her lap. She was browsing at a certain website. Since she made a deal with her grandfather, Xiongji did not waste any time. She only had 4 years to make her company big. After her meal to her grandfather at that time, she recalled all company and projects that became successful in business industry. Including the big shots who would rise in 7 years. Xiongji made advantage of her rebirth. She did not care if she looked like she was cheating. She would made use everything of it. She was grateful that even she did not care or take any action in business industry, she still kept herself updated. It was good that she was blessed with a good memory. Once she read or listened to something, it will never erased in her mind, even she did not pay any attention to it. She had an assumption that she had a photographic memory. When she saw a petroleum company, she remembered something. She took her small notebook and write some words. Click. She exited from the website and read some news. Senator Long found guilty in opening new houses for squatters fund corruption. Pork. Barrel of Chief Secretary Zim released. 21 people involved was being investigated. CJ's controversy. Fake diamonds. Secretary Xiao Mei the mastermind. Vincent Ko and K. Lu marriage date. Next month. Xiongji lips curled up slightly. She had found what she was looking for. She wrote some notes in her notebook. After browsing for more, Xiong felt sleepy and called it a day. Underscore 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 underscore. Today Xiongji was dressed in a simple jeans, a white tank top, a black jacket, a running rubber shoes on, and a cap. There was no school today. She was looking at the phone that Lin Feng gave her. She was thinking if she should call Lin Feng and told him she was going out and if he want to accompany her. After a while, she put her phone back in her pocket, deciding she would not call. Her life and Lin Feng's life were separated right now. For all the aides that work for Xiong, they could only stay at Xiong Mansion after they become 20.1. So right now, Lin Feng was not obliged to her beck and call. She also want Lin Feng to live his life. She had a feeling that Lin Feng was planning something, like preparing for something. Those eyes of Lin Feng were saying it would not stay only at Xiong. Like her, he was probably making himself stronger. Lin Fengji that I end time that I will settle my things for you. Just wait. Wait for me. Xiong Ji went to her driver and then left. Upstairs, an old man was leaning on the window, looking at the car that had left. Min, had someone follow Jier, 1. Just stay far and protect her. Don't let her know. Don't interrupt to any of her business. Old Xiong said. N. Zhou Min made some quick calls. I will notify my son. Zhou Min started. No need. He's not 21 yet. Let him have his freedom now. N. After a while old Xiong said. Do you think my granddaughter would succeed? In a mere 4 years. How could she make a company she just built to become big in just 4 years? Is it possible a company made by a 16-year-old girl to succeed, not just to mention in just 4 years? I don't doubt young Miss Xi is very smart and talented. And from what I saw from that deal she was very determined. She would surely succeed. Zhou Min answered. Ha ha ha. I trust your judgment. Do you know why I agreed to her deal? Because of her determination. To think it through, it was really impossible to succeed her goal. She was still young. But it's good. She can prove her worth. If she make a pleasant surprise, I don't probably need the grandson of that old Guan anymore. I will have my own successor. Old Xiong dreamingly said. But how about your deal to the Guan family? Old Xiong's smile froze when he suddenly realized something. Ah. I forgot to mention this deal to old Guan. Just call him and tell him to make time to have dinner with me. We need to settle this. Old Xiong said while massaging his forehead. I have heard some news. Some days ago his grandson came here from overseas. Zhou Min said, hinting something. How can I forget? That's the reason why I send Jier to school. If Jier knows this she will think I break the deal. Old Xiong understand what Zhou Min was hinting. He made a deal years ago to old Guan, the head of Guan family. They arranged a marriage to expand their business and dominate the business world. Her granddaughter, the first descendant, and his youngest grandson were chosen as their pawn. It was true that old Xiong did not care any of his family members. If they behaved he would keep them, but if they embarrassed him he would cut ties with them without second thinking. Old Xiong was never fond of any of his sons and daughters nor grandsons and granddaughters. But he made a deal with her eldest granddaughter, Jier. And he was a man of his words. However, he also made a deal to old Guan, and his grandson was already in the country, attending the same school as Jier. He knew what it means. Old Guan took a step now. I need to meet with old Guan as soon as possible. He probably mentioned it to his grandson. Old Xiong said. And I will prepare for it. Zhou Min complied. Underscore 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 underscore. A black car was parked in front of police station. Inside the police station, a gorgeous young man was sitting in front of a police officer. Beside the gorgeous man was a middle-aged man with a big body. One tall man wearing a suit entered the room with a black suitcase in hand. Good morning, I'm the lawyer of Mr. Su, my name is Wei Fan. The tall man said while shaking hands to the police officer. Yesterday evening, Mr. Fong harassed my client. He wanted to sleep with Mr. Su so that Mr. Su could invest on their project proposal. But Mr. Su was a straight man and did not want to sleep with him, so he rejected him. However, Mr. Fong assaulted Mr. Su by using force. If not for the waiter serving them, Mr. Su had been offended by this man, the lawyer said in one breath. Liar. You are speaking nonsense. It was me who was assaulted by Mr. Su. The gorgeous man said with rage. This gorgeous man was Fong Daiyin, who was being charged as the offender. He gritted his teeth. He could not believe that this shameless bastard would go this far. He met this bastard 2 months ago because of a project proposal. The bastard was none other than the middle-aged man in the room, Mr. Su. Mr. Su had been pestering him for 2 months. Mr. Su was the representative of an investment company. He, as the accountant from the petroleum company, had nothing to do with representing the project to the investors. But those shameless fools, their head directors, used him to lure this bastard. He was just told to give the file to one of the directors in the conference room. He did not know he was being sacrificed as an offering to this bastard. When he went to the office, he did not disappoint his directors. He really got the attention of Mr. Su. Those bastards knew that Mr. Su was fond of gorgeous young man like Fong Daiyin. If they got the favor of Mr. Su by giving him such a gift, he would happily agree to their proposal. So as expected, Mr. Su suggested that if he slept with him, their project proposal would be guaranteed to invest. But Fong Daiyin was a man of his principles, he would never do such a disgusting thing. Since young, he worked hard for himself. He became an orphan when he was 16. Life was tough on him. He was working while studying. He finished college covered with sweats and blood. He only slept 2 hours every day in that for years. He thought having a degree would help him to have an easy life. But with his looks, he found out it was very difficult to find a good place to work. Before he got to the petroleum company, he had worked in 2 companies. He got fired at the first company because he punched their head manager. He was really enraged at that time because that old man was harassing him. At first, he did not retaliate whenever he squeezed his butt. But when his wandering hands want to hold his thing, and saying outrageous disgusting thing to him, such as wanting to have email protected, with him he could not hold himself but punched that dirty mouth of his. As a result, he got fired the next day after. In the second company, he resigned. A/N. You probably guessed why. You're right. RR. Really? Because he killed someone. A/N. You're the only one who have that kind of guess. Now, at the age of 20.3, he thought he found a good company with no one harassing him. He had been working here for almost 2 years. That's why he could not believe that the company would do such outrageous thing. But the truth was in front of him. Now this shameless bastard Su was twisting their stories. Underscore 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 1. Air. Chinese endearment. Adding .er in the first name is the way of addressing someone who have close relationship with you. Chapter 10. Fong Daiyin, 2, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Xiong Ji entered the police station. She sat on the waiting area and waited. After a while, he saw a middle-aged man and a tall man with a briefcase came out in one of the rooms. When the room was opened, she got a glimpse of a young man in the room. Seeing the young man, Xiong Ji relaxed. Her target was there. Seems like my timing was right. RR. How did Xiong Ji knew that he would be in police station, and which police station? Did she got superpowers, *******A/N. She reads an article about Fong Daiyin in her last lifetime. It was written there what he experienced. As for the police station, Xiong Ji just guessed. And no, she doesn't have superpowers, she is not Emily. The girl in The Clairvoyance, the finalist of AGT 2016, she is like a mind reader, just check it on YouTube if you want. Their performance is really great, especially the girl. Stop it. Back to their story. Xiongji waited for the man to come out. After a while, she saw him come out and was led to a temporary jail. He sat on the ground with down shoulders. She watched him punch the ground and hide his face in his hands. She walked toward the jail. An officer suddenly blocked her way. "Excuse me, are you lost? Underage people should not be here," the officer said. Xiongji picked up her ID in her pocket and held it out for the officer to see. "I'm not underage." Well, she was not actually. She just make a fake ID with 19 years of age. They would not check it anyway. The police officer looked at the card. When he saw her age, he looked again at Xiongji. Xiongji was taller than normal girls. She has long legs. At the age of 16 her height was 5 feet 6 inches. But her young, beautiful, immature, cold face told other people that she was 16 or 17. But that's not what the officer focused his attention on. Because she was wearing a cap, he could not clearly see her face. But when he looked carefully at her to determine her age, he was captive by the young girl's beauty. He had never seen a beauty as beautiful as her. He was open-mouthed. Xiongji used this chance. "I just need to talk to my brother. You see, our mother was sick, she was looking for him. I need to get him out before our mother dies." She boldly lied. The police officer seemed to not notice her lie or her monotone voice with her emotionless face when she said those words. The officer just nodded while gawking at her beautiful face. He seemed to have forgotten that he just received some bribe earlier to not let anyone interact with the man in the cell. Xiongji walked towards the cell. Fong Dian was still looking at the ground. "Mr. Fong," Xiongji called him. Hearing his name called by a cold but melodious tone, he looked up. What Xiongji saw was a gorgeous face. He had a thin silky brown hair that looked so soft. His brown brows that aligned neatly, his dark beautiful chocolate eyes with a struggling look covered by fine long lashes, his tall nose, and his somewhat pale full lips that slightly parted. All in all, she was looking at a model-like figure. She now understood why he had a tough life. With that face and figure, he was like a tempting delicious food for those L.U.S. man and woman. But Xiongji was not affected. She was used seeing a beauty. A/N. Yup. Every day in the mirror XD, she always saw Lin Feng and her rich classmates. Fong Dian just looked at her, waiting for her to speak. He could not clearly see her face. But he knew she was young. However, she was a stranger to him. "Mr. Fong, I'm Xiongji. I'm here to take you out. But with a condition." When he heard that, his face darkened. This bastards. Earlier he was lost to Mr. Su. Because Mr. Su had a lawyer. Even though the charge to him was assault and harassment with lack of evidence, it would still took him 2 years in prison. Because of that bastard Su and his money, he would stay in prison for 2 years even though the case was lacking in evidence. The bailing was also high. He didn't have enough money to bail himself out. He didn't have someone to borrow from because he did not had any friends. He was very busy surviving that he didn't had any time to make friends. He knew he had no way to make himself out. But he would not concede to their conditions. He remembered what that bastard Su said before he left. "But I'm a good man. Since nothing happened, I will consider things if he apologized to me," Mr. Su said with a L.U.S. expression while looking at him. He knew what he meant. If he considered sleeping with that bastard, he would withdraw his charge and would consider it as a truce. Never. He would rather stay in prison than to satisfy that bastard's sex.u.l needs. Just thinking about it made him want to vomit. Now, they send another one to convince him to concede. Is that bastard's pet in his pants really in need? He looked at Xiong-ji with a furious expression. Get out. I would not become a email.protected buddy to that disgusting old man. I would rather stay here. Xiong-ji just looked calmly at the furious Fong Dayin. She waited for him to calm down before she reached something in her bag and handed out to Fong Dayin. It was a folder. To be exact, a contract. Xiong-ji was not good in words. She spoke directly. And if she continued speaking to him right now, he would not understand her intentions. So, written words probably would take effect. I'm not one of his people. Read this. You have 3 days to decide. I would be back in 3 days, then she left after leaving him with the folder. Fong Dayin looked at the girl's back. He was still furious but he managed to calm down. He looked at the folder. At least, he had something to read to pass the time. He seemed to relax a bit. He opened the folder and was startled at the contents of the 20 pages doc.u. meant. It was written concisely and detailed. He read the proposal, the detailed explanations, conditions, and even the laid out of the said company. He was more shocked when he read what would be his position in the company. CEO Fong with a dumbfounded expression he looked at the direction where the girl exited. This seems so good to be true. But the doc.u. meant here does not lie. Who was that girl? Underscore 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 outside the police station, in the car. Xiong-ji draw a check square root beside Fong Dayin's name. She was sure that the man would agree to her. Having no way out, presenting to him a tempting offer that would change his life, he would be a fool if he did not grab the opportunity. Xiong-ji knew that Fong Dayin knew that after his serve in the prison he would have a hard time finding a job as an accountant. He would be blocked by several companies and no one would employ him with a criminal record. So the only choice was to accept this offer. Xiong-ji wanted to recruit Fong Dayin in her company because the man was full of potential. He was not suited to become an accountant only. If he knew what he accomplished 6 years from now, he would be very proud. In her past lifetime, Fong Dayin became an outstanding man that every big companies wanted to recruit. Even his former companies regretted that they let a rare diamond go. In his original fate, Fong Dayin stayed in prison for 2 years. As he expected, he was blocked by several companies. Life became harder for him. He almost lived in streets but he still refused to let go of his pride as a man. Even many man and woman wanted to have a taste of him. Until he stumbled on a humble restaurant called Resto. The owner was a nice old man with her granddaughter. He ate at that restaurant but when he was going to pay he realized he did not have enough money left. Embarrassed, he suggested to wash the dishes. The old man refused at first and wanted to give him the food but Fong Dayin persisted. In the end, he washed all the dishes, he cleaned the kitchen thoroughly, he even fixed their broken oven. Seeing how Fong Dayin so diligently working, the old man was moved. He offered a job to Fong Dayin. Fong Dayin happily agreed. From that day, Fong Dayin became an all-around worker. Since he was doing many odd jobs during high school and college, it was not hard for him to adjust. He cooked, he cleaned, he fixed things, he even became their accountant and manager. Because of him, the resto became organized and came up with many strategies to attract customers. New food, new services, new gimmick, until the restaurant expands and became famous. In just 5 years, it became one of the sought-out restaurants in China. Many investors from foreign countries wanted the resto to expand it in overseas. When one of the reporters from the food section featured the resto, they discovered Fong Dayin, the head manager who made the resto big. When they wrote the article of his stories and how he made the resto big from a humble background, he became a sensational. Many CEOs wanted to recruit him as their managers, assistant director, etc. with a tempting offer. But he was loyal to the old man, the owner of Resto. Because of that, Xiong Ji admired him more. He did not bite the hands that feed him. He was capable, full of potentials, hard-working, and very loyal to his benefactor. The kind of man who were rarely found. This kind of man must be her IHZHI's CEO.